When you think of UK, it is almost impossible to not sketch up an image of Her Majesty, the Queen. Since ascending to the throne in 1952, the mother of four has worked harder than anybody else. She talked politics with 13 prime ministers and 13 US presidents, led 53 Commonwealth countries, and welcomed 8 grandchildren and 8 great-grandchildren. This has been verified now. Today, in this video, we will discuss about what will happen after the death of Queen Elizabeth II. But before we dive into it, please make sure to hit the like button, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. You can also hit the bell icon to stay notified. So let's get started. Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor, officially Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland, and of her other realms and territories, head of the Commonwealth and defender of the faith, was born on April 21, 1926 in Mayfair, London, England. She was the elder daughter of Prince Albert, Duke of York, and his wife, Lady Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon. She had her education supervised by her mother, who had entrusted her daughters to a governess, Marion Crawford. In the summer of 1951, the health of King George VI entered into a serious decline, and it had become a complete necessity for Princess Elizabeth to represent him as his daughter at the Trooping of Color and on various other occasions. On February 6, 1952, the king had taken his last breath, and the reign of Queen Elizabeth II had started. The demise of King George VI had probably affected the Queen's core in the first 3 months of her reign. The period of full mourning of her father was passed in comparative seclusion, but in the summer, after she had moved from Clarence House to Buckingham Palace, she undertook the routine duties of sovereign and carried out her first state opening of Parliament on November 4, 1952. Her coronation was held at Westminster Abbey on June 2, 1953. The Queen in her prime had and is still devoting herself into improving the quality of life of people and the services they are being provided. While she may not have tangible political power, the scope of her influence is undeniable. She has become an idol. Many young people get inspired by her, and they aspire to be like her. In her role as a queen, she has a variety of jobs, ranging from hosting diplomacy events to influencing positive trends. But one of her most important roles is that of a philanthropist. She has committed her life to serving others, and her example has set a precedent for the entire royal family. The impact of the Queen on poverty around the world has created a legacy that will last for centuries. The Queen has also helped organizations including British Red Cross, Cancer Research UK, Save the Children UK, and many more by serving as a patron and directing the public's attention to important causes. Most members of the royal family have a number of charities that they support, but the Queen and her husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, are patrons to the greatest number. The Queen also hosts several garden parties at Buckingham Palace every year, raising money for various organizations that help those in need. Even in her old age, the charities that she has assisted for decades still remain a priority. As of now, Queen Elizabeth II has become the world's longest reigning monarch, with an entire generation of people who might not have known life without her. She is a much loved and respected figure across the globe, as she traveled more widely than any other monarch, undertaking many historic visits overseas. People remember her for her devotion to a life of service, her sense of duty, and her efforts and support towards charities and schools. The Queen sees public voluntary work and services as one of the most important elements of her work. In a speech conference, she said, "I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service. And she has proved every bit of her words spoken through her actions. Why the topic death? Why are we now suddenly talking about the Queen's departure? It is because death is certain. There is nothing in life as sure as death. Therefore, eventually, we will come across news in the future that will state the London Bridge is down, meaning the longest monarch in British history, i.e. Queen Elizabeth II, has fallen asleep for the last time. But what will actually happen after the death of the Queen? What are the protocols that will be followed? Below is a list of things that will happen after the demise of the Queen. Operation London Bridge. Once the Queen has passed, Operation London Bridge begins. The Queen's private secretary, Sir Christopher Gate, will be responsible for informing the Prime Minister before the information is released to 15 other countries where the Queen is the head of the state and the rest of the 36 Commonwealth nations. This is done by the Foreign Office's Global Response Center, which is housed at an unknown location in London. Notice on Buckingham Palace. A notice is placed on the gates of Buckingham Palace, through which the public becomes aware of her death. All the staff will be wearing a black armband on the left arm, which must be 3¼ inches wide. A statement will then be released to the Press Association and various other news channels where regular programmers and newsreaders will wear black suits and ties. Frantic scramble of press. Once the news is made public, news outlets will be releasing stories regarding life, reign, and legacy of the Queen, and the hurried and frantic scramble at all esteemed locations will begin. King Charles III. As soon as Queen Elizabeth dies, Prince Charles will become king. As the superior figure, he is allowed to choose his own name and is expected to become King Charles III. All formalities will take place through a meeting of the Ascension Council at St. James Palace, where his first words as a monarch will also be taking place. While the Queen lies in state, Charles is bound to visit Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales. King Charles will also have to take the decision regarding the line of succession and whether he will be succeeded by Prince Philip or Prince William. Before the funeral, for 10 days, the Queen's body will remain at Buckingham Palace so the family can spend time together. She will be then moved to Westminster Hall, where she will lie in state for a number of days so the public can pay their respects. Her coffin will lie on a raised box known as a catafalque in the middle of Westminster Hall. And then, on the 10th day, the Queen's body will be moved to Westminster Abbey for state funeral. The funeral will be attended by the state officials from all over the world and will be coordinated by the armed forces and government. On the day of the funeral, the country will be given a national day of mourning. The London Stock Exchange will close, as will most UK banks. The day of the funeral and the subsequent coronation will also become national holidays. A 2-minute silence will take place across the United Kingdom at midday, and processions would gather in London and Windsor. However, the Queen, who is 95 years old now, is in good health by all accounts, and there are no suggestions these plans have been revisited with any urgency. However, the latest plans drawn up by the Cabinet Officer for Operation London Bridge includes discussion of the global disturbance due to the current situation. The documents show the extraordinary level of actions required by all arms of the British state, including a vast security operation to manage unprecedented crowds and travel chaos that could see, in the words of one official memo, London become full for the first time ever. After the departure of the Queen, Britain's national anthem, money, and other things is bound to suffer change in the following weeks and months. It will take months, and it might even take years, but over time, the British currency is certain to be replaced with an image of the new monarch. The current national anthem of Britain includes the lyrics "God Save the Queen," which might also be replaced with "God Save the King." Although it's unknown what will happen to the British economy following the death of Her Majesty the Queen. That said, Business Insiders report that the national holidays will result in an estimates economic hit to gross domestic product of 1.2 billion to 6 billion pounds. Last March, the pound fell to its lowest level against the dollar since 1985 as the spread of the virus continued. And with this piece of information, I will be taking my leave for today. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to drop your suggestions in the comments and let us know your thoughts. Okay then, until next time.